I'm a professor of social entrepreneurship, and today I'll be happy to invite you to join me in my laboratory where we work hard in understanding new ways of combining the social with enterprise. For me, it began almost 20 years ago in a cellar in Vienna where I met a very noisy group of people. They were noisy because they were excited. They were very excited. They had discovered a new trend that they labeled emergence of social enterprise in Europe. Today, we can hardly talk about the emergence of social enterprise, since we can experience a full institutionalization. We see legal frameworks globally. Recently, even in Denmark, the Danish government adopted a new law on social enterprise in June. This is taking place everywhere in the world. So the field is not anymore emerging, it is being full institutionalized. But let us look at some ways of understanding the difference between business entrepreneurship and social entrepreneurship. Let me introduce some brilliant colleagues from Harvard Business School's Professor James Austin and his colleagues, who worked hard to understand the difference between social entrepreneurship and business entrepreneurship. They claim, these brilliant scholars, they claim that in business entrepreneurship, the primary driver is the wish to earn an attractive return on investment. The core is to establish a profitable company for the sake of earning an attractive return, economic, financial return for the investors. That is the core of business entrepreneurship, of commercial entrepreneurship. At the core of social entrepreneurship, we find the generation of social values. This is a completely different perspective. It is a completely different set of motivations. All activities in social entrepreneurship is aimed at increasing the social value. Whereas, according to these brilliant scholars, whereas at the center of business entrepreneurship is the wish to return an attractive financial return on investment. Yes, there may be different bottom lines, triple bottom lines, and even more. But at the end of the day, it is the financial return on investment that is the most important. Whereas in social entrepreneurship, it is to create social value. Let us look at a few examples. This is a rock concert, but it is much more than this. From my perspective, it is one of the most interesting, one of the most important social enterprises in Denmark. It is the Roskilde Festival. And furthermore, it is situated only a few kilometers away from where I work on a daily basis at Roskilde University. It has been a social enterprise since it was founded in 1971, although at that time we didn't understand it as a social enterprise. We understood it as an association, because social entrepreneurship and social enterprise is a new perspective, but the activity is not as new as the perspective, as the way we perceive them. It was founded by two high school students who wanted to show their solidarity with prisoners on death row in American prisons. They ran into some financial problems, but the end of the story is that ever since there's been a rock concert and a festival city every year. Just imagine the challenges for planners. Every year, the fourth largest city in Denmark is being raised on this field just outside Roskilde. 130,000 people get together there 10 days a year. It has a unique combination of the social with the enterprise. Every year they produce this festival as a service. The economic meaning is the production of this cultural and social service. The governance structure is very unique. Over the year, more than 1,000 volunteers work every day on establishing next year's festival. And when the festival is running, 32,000 volunteers are contributing, only with a rather limited number of paid staff. And since the beginning, the festival has distributed a lot of profit into communities and social projects and cultural projects everywhere in the world. Actually, all profits is distributed back into the community. In 2008, a terrible earthquake hit the western part of China, in the province of Sichuan. 60,000 people were killed, and 5 million homes were destroyed. Entire villages were totally wiped out. In 2011, I met with these brave ladies here near the epicenter of where the earthquake had hit. I was invited for a conference and interaction on ways to use social enterprise and social entrepreneurship in rebuilding communities after earthquakes, in post-disaster reconstruction. We visited with these social entrepreneurs and many more in the area. These ladies had took upon themselves the responsibility of forming a cooperative for the benefit of their village, of their community, instead of just forming a private enterprise. And they formed a cooperative with a very interesting decision-making structure, a high degree of participation for the benefit of the village, of the community. Yes, they are social innovators. Yes, they are social entrepreneurs. Because imagine in this situation where all their livelihood had been totally wiped out, they took upon them the responsibility of getting their village, their community back on track. So, does social enterprise challenge the market economy, the conventional capitalist market economy? That was the thought of many social entrepreneurs in 2008, 2007, when the financial crisis, the economic crisis started. That is actually also the thought of the EMES network, where we have this integrated approach to social enterprise, to social entrepreneurship, where we talk about the combination of the social and the economic character of the enterprises, and adding also the dimension of governance, adding the dimension of increasing participation and political empowerment of the people involved. We need this type of enterprises today. We need this type of social enterprises, social entrepreneurs, maybe even more today than previous in history. Just look at a very famous economist, Thomas Piketty, who wrote this seminal work, published last year, the seminal work on capital in the 21st century. Somewhere in the middle of his book, I found this sentence that he say that perhaps the 21st century is going to be even more inegalitarian than the 19th century. If it is not already so, he claims. If it is not already so, maybe we are going to live in the most inegalitarian century in history if we are not already doing that. That is a terrible thing from my perspective. Social entrepreneurs should address this issue. Social entrepreneurship should address this. Finding new ways of really putting the social value into the core, being the core principle of the economic endeavors. Not after you've received a return on investment through charity, giving back to communities, but using this, serving the community as a core principle of economic activities. The social enterprises you have seen here are working in that way. But we have a problem. tools of entrepreneurship, of business entrepreneurship, of commercial entrepreneurship, are tending also today to dominate social entrepreneurship, although we in 2007, 2008 saw social enterprise, this combination, as a window of opportunity. Today, consultants, many social entrepreneurs themselves, interest organizations, are almost obsessed with replicating the models of business entrepreneurship. We can do that to a certain degree, but producing for the sake of community, for the sake of the people, is a completely different set of behavior and sometimes also require different tools. Is charity a trustworthy way of addressing problems? I don't think so. I don't think that it is a trustworthy way to replicate business models of entrepreneurship into social entrepreneurship. Charity can't correct the inequality that we see is produced as part of the commercial enterprise way of doing business. Charity works in certain ways, can adjust, can solve some problems, but we cannot oversee that charity is also fed partly by the engine of inequality. So I don't think we can just work with a charity model to work towards making the world more egalitarian and more equal. We need social enterprises. We also need to understand better the dynamics of social enterprises. In EMES, we work with this combination of the social, the governance, and the economic. Just take the social. The Roskilde Festival, founded by 2 high school students, still an association, plowing all profit back into communities, into projects, social projects, cultural projects everywhere in the world. That's the social dimension. The economic dimension, that they produce this service that they offer every year, each and every year. Yes, it is an enterprise. And the governance dimension, increasing participation in the governance. Just to understand, I've tried to do that, to understand the governance structure of the Roskilde Festival is very complicated, but it is certainly aimed at participation. Also, these entrepreneurs in the Sichuan province combine these 3 features of the social dimension, the economic dimension, and the governance dimension. Such enterprises, such activities are very, very important to address inequality. Most recently, in my laboratory, I've come across an organization in the most southern state of India, the state of Kerala. There's a project called Kudumbasri, meaning the prosperity of the family. This organization, I would argue, I'm a scholar, I may not serve the truth here, but I'm researching this area, I have knowledge about it. I would argue that this organization and organizations like this, they've contributed to the fact that Kerala is the most equal state in India, with the highest literacy rate. It's a statewide organization that also works with these 3 combined missions of the social, the economic, and the political or the governance. Early this morning, I received an email from a colleague, Professor Shahjahan from Mumbai. Together we are collaborating with this organization. We go there and we learn from the organization to distribute this knowledge to other places in the world. This lady, she has been active in Kurumbasere. She is a business leader. She is also a political leader. And for her, it's all about dignity. Because after having worked in this organization, she tells us that today, even the bank man calls me madam. And this story, there are so many layers in this story. Behind these ladies, there are no men. They're the entrepreneurs. They are the political leaders. Maybe this way of doing business appeals more to women than to men. I don't know. But I think these types of organizations, they provide a great message to us to making the world more equal. I've heard exactly the same story in the southern part of Brazil, where a group of women, 15 women, were so fed up with their poverty that they started a sewing cooperative. And I asked them, when visiting them there in 2009, I asked them, why did you do this? We did it because we were fed up always being served last in the supermarket and served without respect. After we have started this cooperative, sewing cooperative, producing very, very nice clothes, they are served with dignity. This was a short endeavor, a short visit into my laboratory, and I'm very happy you joined me here, and I wish you all luck in trying to combine the social with the economic, because we need it.